So I think the reality is, what's the biggest risk out there? It's not Trump. It's not whether the Chinese economy can grow 6 or 7%. It's not Brexit. The biggest fear out there is the European Union and disintegration, and fears that Europe is no longer going to be some kind of cohesive area. Now, the reality is, though, that people worry too much about this, in my view. So my view would be that Europe is going to surprise the most in 2017, and consequently the euro and European stock markets are big outperformers, and that's a big change from 2016.
And that seems to be a bit of a contrarian view. What exactly makes you say that? Because we've got so many elections happening in 2017.
Because when people fear something already, you look at the big fund management sentiment polls, the biggest fear out there is European Union disintegration. It's been top of the charts for the last couple of months. When people already factor that in, worry about that, guess what? Financial markets are great discounters of the future. So the reality is, much of it is factored in. Yes, there are some huge things to worry about. The Dutch elections, the French elections, the German elections, what's going to happen in Italy, Brexit and everything else. But these are known knowns. So my feeling is, much is factored in, much is concerned about already. Europe's already cheap, and it's already disliked. Look at those massive outflows from European equities in 2016. You put all of that together, therein lies your opportunity. I agree, it is contrarian, but I'm optimistic.
Chris, do you have any specific areas you like in Europe when it comes to perhaps looking for bargains? There was a report coming from Barron's. They suggested that some of the blue chip stocks this year could outperform. Do you agree?
I would agree with that on the basis that European stocks generally are cheaper than their US peers. But I think if you're thinking about some kind of European recovery, some kind of change in sentiment, sort of two areas seem to me most interesting. The first is that you will see an improvement in more domestically, economically sensitive stocks. The big disappointment about Europe over the last 4 or 5 years has been the lack of growth in the European domestic economy, domestic regional economy. So those areas, retail, financials, construction, building, that are correlated with the European economy would do best. Second area, I think, is that if the euro recovers, then the dollar will be a little bit weaker. And if the dollar's a bit weaker, that's great news for the emerging markets. So any European company with embedded optionality in the emerging markets, big exposures by sales or profits, they will be an interesting place to look to.